In this video, I am going to break down the number one reason why people either fail, let's be honest, they give up on their bigger goals. So whether you're hoping to have a 20K a month business, or you want to speak on stages worldwide, you want to write a best-selling book, you want to serve 100 people in your community space, whatever the goal is, this is the reason you have quit and settled for less. And I see this all the time, specifically in the coaching space, because people have this idea of this goal, right? They get very excited to work towards it, but they don't understand the 4 pillars that make up a goal. So we're going to break that down today, because a goal is more than just a destination. A goal is a requirement for an entire internal shift. We're going to dive right into the first pillar, which is outcome. That is more than just the result of the goal. That is more than just what is life going to look like. That is the embodiment of what that feeling is. Here's what happens in most situations. You are working towards your goal. You're very excited in the beginning because you're like, yes, this is going to change my life. It's going to change so many people's lives. And then you start doing the work. And the work keeps you busy. Maybe you're working 6-hour days. Maybe you're working 12-hour days. Maybe you're working 20-hour days. But you're busy, busy, busy. And the more work that you're doing, the more disconnected you're getting from the embodied results. So then when life happens, which it always fucking does, whether your kids end up with the flu and you can't work for a week, or maybe your house starts flooding, maybe a client just fucks up your whole month, whatever it is that happens in life, you take your goal and you put it on the back burner, right? And you're like, okay, well, I'll get back to it on Monday. I'll get back to it next week. But then the motivation's not there. And then the procrastination comes in. So you sit down to get back to work and you're like, oh, you know what? I forgot to throw the laundry in. I'll just do that. Oh man, the kids left their toys out. I'll just tidy that up quick. Oh shit, now I have no time to work. This is because you are so disconnected from doing the busy work, from what the outcome is from your goal, that you no longer have the internal motivation from your brain, that motivation center that relies on dopamine, to actually move towards it. And this pillar also ties into the other ones, which we're going to talk about here in a minute. But it's very important that you understand the outcome and the embodiment of it, because when you have that sensation, everything we talk about next is going to build off of that. And so what you can do before you actually work on your goal, let's pick one goal for this video. You want to have a coaching business, you want to help people, you want to make a big impact, and you want to make $20,000 a month, okay? It's a realistic goal, but it's delusional enough that it's exciting. You can actually picture yourself sacrificing something to accomplish this goal. We want our goals to be big. We want them to be delusional so that it's worth what we actually have to put into reaching them. Because if you fall for the whole trap of yeah, you're going to make $20,000 a month if you follow my XYZ strategy, it's going to be so fucking easy. I'm here to tell you that's not how it works. It is fucking hard work. And I'm not talking about hours and hours of work. I'm talking about the inner work that is required, which is why we're covering these 4 pillars today. So the goal is $20,000 a month with your coaching business. The outcome of that is it actually frees up a lot more time. You want to spend more time with your family. You want to go on more vacations. You want to have more impact without trading more of your time for those things. So every time before you build out the offer, the sales funnel, the website, make your social media posts, whatever it is you need to do for your business, you need to get yourself in a state of embodiment of what that goal looks like. You need to allow yourself to visualize you fucking winning at life. This is it. Here I am sitting on the beach drinking my mojito. My clients are DMing me how happy they are, the transformations I've given them. Everything is great. Life is amazing. And then also allow yourself in the moment to look around and find things to be grateful for in that moment. Get yourself in state. I have a 15-minute exercise that I do every single day to get myself in this state, because I know how important it is to show up from this state when you work towards your goals. Because as we move into the next pillar here, which is decisions, we are not going to be making the right decisions for our business if we are not in the state of somebody who's already achieved the goal. We're going to make decisions out of scarcity, out of desperation, out of exhaustion, out of resentment, out of burnout. The list goes on. When you are not embodying the result and how beautiful and amazing that life is going to be, you are going to make decisions from your past self. And the best way to counter this when you're really stuck and you're in the thick of it and you're like, how is this going to work? It's not working. Oh my God, I hosted a masterclass or I did an in-person workshop and nobody showed up. Now what decision am I going to make? You need to interrupt that loop because that's going to put you in a desperate state, and nobody wants to purchase from somebody who's in a desperate state. So we're going to interrupt that loop. You're going to bring yourself back into embodying the goal, into that state, and then you're going to make a decision that is, what decision would I make right now if I trusted that everything was going to work out? What decision would I make today if I trusted that I was going to have 5 clients signed into my contract at the end of the day? What decision would I make right now if I knew that at the end of the month, my income account was going to show $20,000? Then you make that decision. You go and you take action on that decision immediately. Now, the third pillar very much ties into this is, who is the person that makes $20,000 a month? We really need to break this person down. What are their daily habits? How do they start the day? What are their thoughts? What are the stories they tell themselves? How do they show up in business? How do they show up for their family? How do they show up in life in general? What are their bigger dreams? You really need to get to know this person that makes $20,000 a month. Because if you don't know this person, you're not going to make decisions as this person. You're not going to embody the result as this person. And you're not going to take actions as this person. And the thing you need to understand about your brain is your brain has one job. It is to keep you alive with as minimal effort as possible. That's why the term autopilot comes in, and your brain loves to automate things. So when you can get very clear on who you need to be to reach your $20,000 a month goal with your business, you can build habits and structures into your day to automate that identity so that it becomes easier. Identity is the foundation of everything, right? Your identity is made up of the beliefs that you have, the decisions you make or avoid making, and the evidence that your brain collects, right? And so your brain will always act in alignment with who it believes you are. And that means if you don't believe that you're capable of making $20,000 a month, if you're not showing up and spending your days as somebody who makes $20,000 a month, your brain is going to pull you back to the person who's desperate for $5,000 a month. Your brain is going to make sure that you only see opportunities for somebody who's making $5,000 a month. Your brain is going to make sure that you only take actions as somebody who makes $5,000 a month. So identity is crucial. Of course, the fourth pillar, which very much drives our identity, is the beliefs. Do you believe this is possible? And if you don't, you better get on board with that belief, because the stories that are running the show in your business right now are the reason that your business looks the way that it does, are the reason that you have not reached the goals that you want to reach. There is a story, and maybe the story is true. Maybe you invested $20,000 in mentorship thinking you would skyrocket to success, and your business looks worse than it was before because now you're just fucking broke. And so the belief is, it didn't work. I'm not cut out for this. But the truth is, you didn't make that investment from a place of embodying the result, from making decisions as the person who already has the $20,000 month, from somebody who takes actions, from being the person that had the result. You made that investment as somebody who was in scarcity, as somebody who was in desperation. And so you need to change the story. Yes, that is true. You spent this much money and it didn't work out, but it doesn't mean that it's not going to now. That's the thing with beliefs. Beliefs are decisions we have made about ourselves, about our circumstances, that we choose to dictate our future decisions. So I can believe that my business is going to fail because I made the wrong investment, or I can believe that my business is going to be successful because I made the wrong investment and I learned what doesn't work for my business. You get to decide what you believe. You get to decide what meaning you attach to that story and how that story defines you moving forward. This is the key to everything, because once you alter those beliefs, that shifts the identity. You become the person who does this. You make the decisions, and then you can embody the outcome. As you can see, we move through these pillars simultaneously, but you need all four of them to actually reach your goal. I would love to know which pillar you have been neglecting the most in working towards your delusional goals. Now that you understand this, applying it every day, you not only get to achieve your goals, you get to feel good in the process because the person you're showing up as, that human being, already is fucking winning. So you get to show up every single day and win regardless of what's going on externally around you. If you want to dive deeper into these pillars and goal setting in general, check out this video up here. But for now, go and take some action towards your goals. Apply these 4 pillars. And as always, I have unwavering belief in your potential and I wish you nothing but success.